In a broken wasteland, come to my fire.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host. This week is super fucking cool because, as you can see, we've got a full house already here in the Metal Forge. We have Katy Scary, Leona, Hayward?
Yeah.
And Jeff Taft from the band Owlbear here in the Metal Forge. How are you all doing today?
You're doing good.
Fantastic.
Or I'm doing good, rather. So.
Yeah, not everybody jump up at first. No.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for everybody. I'm doing fine. I'm off of work. I've got
This
my
is
routine,
like the second Monday of the week when we're recording this for a lot of people, and it's like actually given some recent posts, I think we all feel the same way. This is kind of like the same fucking day that has repeated itself for like a month now. It's January 20th all over again every fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is going on now?
So it's January 67th at this point. Like,
right.
Counting, moving into the next month.
Exactly. Exactly. And here we are. Heavy fucking metal brings us together because that is the law. Unless you're talking about Tower Hill, and that's the law is the law. But how are you all doing?
Good. Like,
Great,
you know.
So by the time we're recording
this is the most defensive question that we've ever had. Like, people ask us
like,
way wilder shit, and we're like, fuck the president. And now you're like, how you guys doing? We're like, we don't talk about our feelings. What are you saying?
I was wondering when we get how many, and when we get to the first "fuck the president" of this show, but I'm glad we're getting in early. And now that it wasn't me that said it, I feel even better to have the all clear.
Well, we did it in the first minute and a half, if that.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, because I completely brought it. I immediately went into it because that is also one of the reasons why I wanted to have you all on, not only for the new album that is coming out, and well, at this point, by the time this airs, has already come out a couple of weeks ago, but is the post about having to cancel the fest performance. Let's go ahead and get into it, because that is some fucking bullshit on the government part. Just like, because this affects like just down to even fucking playing music.
Right. Jeff, if you want to handle this, because I won't stop.
No, that's by all means.
Yeah, the polite answer is this is not what any of us expected when we formed a fucking heavy metal band to deal with. And like, I worked in immigration previously, I'll say, and I've dealt with Customs and Border Patrol, and I don't want to deal with those fucking people. I don't want my bandmates to deal with those fucking people. I definitely don't want to deal with this incarnation of those fucking people. So
Sure.
The like polite side of it is that we tried to figure out a way to make it work, and we held on as long as we could. Like this could get bad. This could get bad. Okay, this is definitely bad and not safe. It sucks.
Yeah, right.
And like Joey was so like understanding and helpful. He was, first of all, so excited to have us, and then I felt really bad that we couldn't, and then he was like totally understanding. It's just,
and I mean, at this point, this is a real thing that, and don't mean to like completely jump into the dire immediately in the episode, but like, this is a real thing that people have to deal with now. This is a very real problem. And this like has completely limited, you all to possibly either, how far can this go? That's the whole thing. Just going into each state at that point.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that just the way things are going with like how many, not even just like plane crashes and stuff we've had since like, the 20th of last month and stuff like that. It's
like 14 or 15 of them.
It's like, okay, even barring going outside of the country, is it safe to fly? Are we going to have to drive? Are we going to have to take Amtrak? Is Amtrak going to be safe? Right? You know, um, so that's kind of where we're at with some of this stuff. It's just like, we didn't expect to have such logistical complications around just going and playing a show or whatever. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, despite the ACLU issuing statements that were like, yeah, no one show your paperwork to the government at this point in time. Like, we're gonna sue them and work this out. Like, which was like the last straw for us. We were like, okay, this is very real. We're not messing with this at all. But despite all of that, a couple random people on the internet told us that it's not a big deal. So, like, I guess it's fine.
And that was one of the things that pissed me off, because on the post that I shared of Jeff's, somebody put a fucking smiley face on there, like the laughing emoji, and I was like, what in the absolute fuck? And this was a band in my local scene here, and it's like, dude, you guys are like 47 fucking years old, and you play the fuck like 3 times a year. Go fuck yourself.
47 years old and still in your local scene. Yeah, I think that's where they're gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like have fucking compassion for fellow fucking musicians, especially when it's like fucking something that's out of control.
Yeah. And even look at, like, not even just us, but look at, you've probably seen the thing with Iron Savior, right?
I have not.
Yeah.
So they made some announcements saying that they're backing out of Prague Power USA this fall, because they basically don't know the state that the country is going to be in, and they're making comparisons to the fall of the Weimar Republic and stuff like that, which I think is a valid comparison. But like, yeah, they don't feel comfortable like coming here, and they don't want to. They're basically BDSing the United States, doing the best sanction from the United States, and not even just that from the political standpoint, but like, their argument was like, we see what's been happening the last month and a half. We don't know what it's going to be like in September when we do the show, so
sure. So yeah, it's like you wouldn't fucking go into a volatile fucking war zone, and I mean, I guess, but like, yeah, it's just, to me, the fucking it's almost like watching the collapse of, like, it's like watching your fucking favorite venues close down, almost. Because it's like, over the last decade, I'm sure we've all went across and seen that stuff, that venues that we have loved to play at close down, and it's like, is this the great venue close down of the United States?
Yeah, like, for real, like, are foreign bands gonna even I mean, they already hated it with the like visa prices and problems,
and
like,
that's where I was
going to
bring up.
to
all
get
that
the
stuff.
country, and now the country itself is like horrible to them. Like, I wouldn't.
Right.
All that stuff's going to get more expensive and more complicated for them as a result of this as well. Again, going off my past experience working in this, and yeah, like, even regardless of like the social side of it, the financial side and the logistical side will get harder, and then bands will just not come.
Sure. And I mean, it's already hard enough to get bands to be able to come over. And, one of the last cool tours that I got to see, well, aside from like, like seeing Tower Hill and stuff at Legions last year, was a few years back. Before that, there was Seven Sisters that had come over with Haunt and toured with them. But they didn't bring any gear, like, they played on Haunt's gear. So it's just like, just them and their bags, they didn't even bring guitars. So it's like, yeah, it's already hard as it is. And now it's even fucking harder. And fuck that. You would think there's got to be a breaking point somewhere in the scene, like, that's what metal's always been about, right? Is like fucking standing up against adversary.
Yeah, I mean, that's like why I was glad that Iron Savior actually said something. Like, relatively early into all of these problems, because it's like, when was somebody going to, like, what, like, exactly what you're saying. It's like, what would have to happen before everyone is like, yeah, this isn't normal and we don't want to put up with any of this shit. So, like, yeah, I mean, I was really glad that and especially that it was, just 4 white dudes doing it, because, like, then no one is like, oh, you guys are just complaining and, like, nothing's ever good enough and whatever else. It was just like, yeah, people that, like, are not, like, in the direct line of fire of any of this were like, hey, this is really bad, and, like, we all need to recognize that, like, this is really bad.
No, for sure. It is. And, that's the awareness that I think that I've been trying to push on the last few episodes have been, stand the fuck up for against all this shit, because, I don't want to have fucking boot marks on my fucking back either. But, we have been talking some political shit here for a minute. Let's go ahead and jump into Feather and Claw. Tell everybody in the Metal Forge about the new album.
Who wants to do it?
Oh wow.
Well, y'all should
Here,
since
do
y'all
I
wrote
need
the
to?
songs.
Okay, so
Yeah,
your D&D
I,
theme.
I can start it then. I mean,
Yep.
Jeff started the last one. Leona assured everyone that we were doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
I can can
I can roll the D20.
Katie, you've sat with it the longest, so
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I can roll the D20 to see who goes first.
I'll take the initiative on this one. Can you repeat the question now that I've done this long-winded intro?
So the new album coming out at the end of February. Tell people about it. What's the shining moments of the album that you want to tell people about?
Okay, yeah. So it's Owlbear's second album, and we put out our first album, Chaos to the Realm, in 2023. And it was something, the first album was, something that we were just doing, like, for the fun of it, really. Like, we were not like, we got to push all the PR, we got to make sure we record TikToks, we got to do all this stuff. We were just like, we are writing this fun little album with our friends, and I bet 20 of our friends will think it's cool, and then we will move on with our lives, and that will be it. So a lot of the music on album 1 was very we didn't second guess any of it. We came up with some riff ideas and we were like, yeah, that's the riff. Cool, record it. What's next? Okay, moving on. So album 2, we severely overcorrected on that, feeling like we didn't put enough energy into album 1. So for shining moments, I would say comparatively to album 1, the whole thing is like staring into the sun. Yeah, it's a lot more, not that it is a super technical album or anything. It's definitely not, like prog thrash or something. We're not playing like atheist riffs or something. But I mean, comparatively, it is definitely, I think, like the logical next step forward. Adding a little more complexity to things. I think that the production value is definitely way more polished on it. We found out we were allowed to play fast. So we did that a ton. That was album 1. We were like, okay, we can't use too much double bass. We can't go too fast. Like, it's a traditional, like Iron Maiden wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be, playing 16th double kick drum on too many things here. So we sort of threw out some of those ideas for album 2. We were like, oh, people liked all this stuff. They liked the ideas that we had. And we were like, cool, we can like actually, what do I say? Like expound upon them and refine them and, see what would come next. So yeah, it's definitely not, it's within the same vein moving forward. It definitely doesn't feel like, the same Motorhead album again 4 times in a row, or, like AC/DC or whatever, where it's like, yeah, I like this band, but there sure is no differences in any of these albums. So
wait a second. Hang on. 4 Motorhead albums in a row that sound the same?
Are you about to pull out like your vinyl collection of Motorhead to be
Yeah,
like, don't talk shit on Lemmy? Because that would
actually,
be
I
fine.
can't
I
do
like
it
Motorhead.
because I'm wearing the hockey sweater today.
Yeah.
I can't pull it up enough to show off the Motorhead tattoo on my arm and be like, Motorhead, motherfucker. No,
Hey,
so
I
no,
like those
totally get
bands
it.
that I listed. I like Motorhead. I love AC/DC. That was a point of contention in this band earlier. But
yeah,
but yeah, so that's all I'm saying for the expectation level. It feels like definitely like the next tier up on the pyramid.
Sure. And I'm very much a a when I look at bands like again like Motorhead, ACDC, um, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and say you take like British Steel, Defenders of, and then Defenders of the Faith,
Mhm.
and the logical jump is not there, because it's like there's almost too much reinvention between those two albums.
yeah,
So you've got to have, Screaming for Vengeance in there
Right,
to
yeah. No, that
bridge
makes
that
sense, yeah.
gap. So no, totally for sure. That if it feels like the next step on the pyramid, I could already imagine what album 3 is going to start looking like.
You got a hint. You just want to drop them now. It'd be wonderful. No, I think just to add to what Katie said, we also had a like much better sense of what we thought worked for us and what like gelled this time, and we could focus on that. It's like for my part, there are a couple times it's like, okay, so we're trying out like, oh, this riff, or like try something in this vein and seeing what worked. And now that we saw what worked and what we liked, we could run with that and then throw more double bass in.
Yeah, there's definitely, the first um album was sort of figuring out what the other people were going to contribute to a traditional heavy metal band called Owlbear. Like I was aware of like previous stuff that Jeff had done. I just met Leona. Just like this band is how I became aware of Leona. So I wasn't too um well versed in her playing or what she might try to do. So the first album was definitely like all of us as individuals, just sort of stacking the things next to each other. And there's a lot more on this that I feel like the way that things were, written for me to sing over, or leaving spaces for Leona to play something more intricate and have it actually come out in the arrangement and be heard. Um, I think that it's a lot more, and I don't think that the first album was bad or incoherent, but I definitely think that, yeah, as Jeff said, this one gels a lot better, all of us together.
Sure.
It's a lot more solid. Um, the concepts are much more solidly put together.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say also one of the things that I appreciated too in this album was that Katy like produced me a bit more, right? Insofar as she gave me more insights and feedbacks on what some stuff that didn't work, and stuff that did work, and things to lean into and stuff like that, and even did some like had me copy a couple of the like bass parts that she had written for some of the songs, and I think it came out better because of that. And I'm just really happy with the way that she handled all that stuff. In like expanded the role that she took on that part as in I guess being a producer in that regard, So
For sure. It sounds like, the actually having the germ of the idea and each person filling out the part. And then now the germ of the idea has taken root. And rather than each part is being taken by each individual person, you almost have the intertwining moment there of like the root system. Almost is what I would equate it to. Is everybody is hands on with everybody else's part now. It's like,
Yeah.
the bass could come up here, but the guitar needs to soar here.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely, yeah.
awesome. And I love having that capability with my bands. Especially like with Ice Owl. That's totally rad. Because it's almost like unspoken language when you fire off and work with people that get the same idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember it was the first single that we put out for Feather and Claw as Arrows Hail, and I remember like writing it and sending the demo. And while I was writing it, I was like, okay, cool. I will like put some whole notes here, and like that'll be a because I'm like the rest of the song is like so busy. I don't know what Leona would be doing for the rest of it, like other than following along with what the guitars are doing. And so I was like, yeah, I'll like put some spots that are like whole notes, and she can like play some runs and notes and like actually pop out and really have something noticeable on this song. And I sent the demo and it didn't have any bass in it yet. And Leona was like, oh, I hear some gaps where I could like throw some things. And I was like, that's exactly what that's for. So yeah, I mean, after, doing 10, 12, whatever songs it was, with the cover EP that we also put together, it was just such a more clear understanding of what the other people were going for rather than like, album one, where essentially we had the entire album written and then we were like, okay, Leona, you can play bass on this. And so it was just like, none of it was written around what ideas she might have. Or I was definitely on the first album way more hands off with the stuff that Jeff wrote. But like we had said earlier, I mean, a lot of Jeff's stuff now, like he had sent it to me and I got to do more of just like the producer role with it, of being like, oh, we could harmonize this, or like, oh, we'll add like a layer of whatever over here. Or he'd send me like the vocal melody ideas and I'd be like, cool, like I get how to like add like backing vocal layers and things like that to it. So yeah, it definitely was way more of a group effort, a collective idea this time, definitely.
Do you ever have the moment where you were given like the song and you were just like, shit, I got nothing?
No, every time one of these two hands me an idea, I go, shit, this fucks, dude. I mean, I don't think I've really I mean, certainly not to the point where it's just like, oh, this idea in its essence is bad. Like, I don't think that has ever happened between any of us contributing to this. I think that really it's just like, at worst, it'll be like somebody sends an idea and it's like, okay, there's like some rough edges that we need to figure out here. Like that's too many notes, or like this vocal melody is not happening, or whatever else. But no, I mean that's like added reason why I really like working in this band, because especially now, yeah, I mean we'll send each other song ideas and we're all like, fuck yeah, dude, like that's what I would want to be playing. Like that's the song I would want on this album that I'm on. So yeah, I think it's been working extremely smoothly in that regard.
Oh yeah. So what are we going for with the rest of 25?
We're fighting for our fucking lives, dude.
Yeah. Like I may have said that we were good earlier on in the podcast, but that wasn't formality.
No. Okay. So
we're good right in this moment, in this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thrilled right now.
Yeah.
I'm done working on the album. I'm having a great fucking week. I don't have to worry about anything.
Katie's on vacation, essentially.
Yeah, I handed off, the final mixes, and there was a couple other loose ends to tie up, and then it was in Jeff's hands. So I've been having a great fucking time for a couple weeks now.
Nice. Well, I mean, barring any existential crises that we're all going to be possibly going through,
Right.
are we going to look at possibly doing a few shows, tours, anything like that? I mean,
Yeah, for
how does
sure.
that work for you all?
We have we had everything announced? Can I say the two shows that we have?
Yeah, everything's been announced.
The two festivals are announced.
Yeah. So we got what was it? We got Stormbringer in Boston in June, and then we
Sure.
have Mile High in Colorado in August. So
Hell yeah. And kind of two separate ends of the earth there, got one in Massachusetts, one in Colorado.
well, it's all east of me. So
Yeah, Leona's in on the West Coast, so everything
yeah, I'm up here
is
in Seattle. So
a bit of a distance.
Now, I originally met Katy and Jeff at Legions of Metal last year.
right.
And of course, Leona, you did not get to go.
No.
Because which sucked because you had there was the fill-in bass player and everything. But I completely, like, during that whole first night,
Yeah.
it was completely like religious experience music for me. I remember texting my mom during Tower Hill set, and then continuing on, just like, holy hell, the first night was so awesome. When you all played that last year, and I'm sorry to kind of leave you out on this one, Leona, what was the best experience you got to have with the show, with the fest?
We never expect to play a show, so that was like,
yeah, that was crazy.
That in itself is crazy. Bob, who runs these is awesome. He really wanted us to do it, and he was so enthusiastic about it. We were like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So
yeah, he was
really
real gung ho about it. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, we weren't like applying to play any events or anything like that. Like, we were still just like, yeah, we'll see what happens. Because at that point in time, like, when he booked us for it, it would have been like October or November or something. Like, we just got here. Like, we put out our first album in August 2023, and so yeah, it was like October 2023, and Bob's like, you're coming to Chicago, and we were like, I fucking guess. Like,
Yeah.
what are you
Now,
talking about, dude?
Now, was this ever the plan to play as a live band? Was it
No.
only supposed to be a recording project?
There was no plan for it to be a band. There was no plan. Like, there were, like
I remember distinctly having like anxiety about this because like I did a bunch of like really stupid, crazy shit like on the album, and I'm like, I'm never gonna have to play this. It's fine, And now we're like, oh, we're gonna do it. I'm like, oh god damn it. So and there's more of that on the next album. In fact, even more of that on the next album. So it'll be another.
Yeah, we severely overcorrected.
Yeah,
we didn't do the right thing, but we corrected it.
Yeah. So
right.
But yeah, so like there's that aspect to compensate for. So I'm still anxious about doing it live a little bit, but I think I'll be okay. I think I'm excited to for the next couple of shows to be able to do that with them. Sorry to get off track, but
No, for sure. That's what this show is all about, is getting off track. It's practically derailed the whole fucking show, not just the segment. But no, I think it's funny because, like, I've often done things. It's like, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? Like, do it as a joke, right? It's like, fuck it. It's like put in an application when I was like 18 to work at a strip club. And like, of course, because
did you get good tips?
Not, yeah. I wish. Actually, they would get mad if you found money on the floor, you were allowed to keep it if it was not anything 20 or larger. And I was just like, fuck you. I'm keeping anything I find, any money I find on the floor, I'll disinfect it. But anyway, I did it as a joke and it backfired. And they were like, can you start today, kind of shit. It's kind of like the same thing where it's like, we're going to put out an album. not intentional to actually ever get together and play it. And somebody's like, "Hey, you guys want to fucking play this? Come
Yeah,
on."
now we're at the fucking strip club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now you're at the strip club. Well, I mean, I could have told the other story, but I mean, but that's just the more colorful one, I guess.
I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, like very like legit. It was just like, oh, this would be fun. And then yeah, way more people than we expected uh, decided they really
and yeah,
liked
the
it just as much
demand.
as we did. So that was very cool. One of the
We
things
started
with it
playing and people knew the words, and that was
that
wild.
was like that was fucking weird. That was really cool, but that was like yeah, that like threw me off for a second there. But yeah, when we played at Legions of Metal, there was like probably half a dozen or so people in the audience that were singing along with us, and we were like, we just got here, like what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I guess I know what they're talking about. I wrote all these words, but like yeah, it that was probably the biggest like actual shock. We were sort of just, we were in vague shock the whole time of like at that festival of just like, oh damn, this is real. Oh, we're playing at this thing. Like we never had any plans for this. And then like actually being up there and seeing that everyone else was like really, really psyched for us to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
we're
was very
really
cool.
into it. For sure. Zeba from Ice Howl was in a boot and was standing up there singing and was just like, holy shit. And she was into it. Um, but when you look at like Spotify and you see like, the like on almost everything that you all have, there's, thousands and thousands of plays. When you're looking at it and it's like, 5, 6, 10, 20,000 plays on a song, it's like, how do you process that?
We still haven't really started to process that. At least I
Yeah.
haven't. It's this really surreal thing where you see stuff about like your band on social media and you didn't bring it up. It's just people talking about your band in the wild. And it to me it's just like what?
Right.
And so just seeing that we have thousands of listens on a song or seeing that we have thousands of, I'm not sure exactly what like some between 2 and like it's not a lot, but like still like it's no like Taylor Swift numbers or anything like that, but seeing that there's a couple thousand people a month listening to our albums is really surreal to me, and I still haven't kind of wrapped my head around that, because when we started this we didn't have those kind of aspirations to have thousands of people listen to the album. It was something that we were doing for fun, right? And so to just have that happen and continue happening is kind of like weird, and I don't know how to deal with it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
like
absolutely.
I I have a couple different music projects and but so like I make lo-fi hip hop um and that one will get like, between 15 and 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify right now. But it's because like um like I work with labels and they have like their curated playlists and they know other people with curated playlists and whatever, like things like that. So it's like those numbers are like so much more um like vague to me, where because it's just people passively listening or whatever. Like they could listen to my lo-fi stuff a trillion times and never know anything about me or who I am, or like ever look me up after that. But so it's I I sort of got like in one sense I got used to numbers being like as high as they were or whatever, but then like yeah, really thinking about it, and whenever you see like, oh yeah, Owlbear, we have like 3,000 Spotify listeners this month, and it's like that is so much crazier than like the lo-fi stuff just getting added to whatever playlists and the numbers getting racked up, because it's just like a lot of these are people like very specifically seeking us out or like having heard of us and
Very
looked us
true.
up, and it's so much, it's such a different thing to wrap our head around. But yeah, yeah.
No, I totally dig that because it again, you know, they're passively listening to the hip hop thing because it might be on a playlist somewhere, like you said. It might be in a store. It you know, it could be anywhere. But the people the versus the 3,000 people that listen to Owlbear, you know, specifically they're seeking you out, and they're the ones who are singing those songs at places like Legions.
Right,
And
exactly. Yeah.
you know, and they know. And that's the thing with like metalheads, you know, we all read the liner notes of albums and shit like that. We all know who plays on what and who does what in a band for the most part. Where most hip hop artists, not to discredit, but I mean, I don't know if that is a thing in that music scene, you know, if they memorize liner notes and shit like metalheads usually do. But yeah, so you know that's how people are going to know who you are based off of that.
Right. Yeah. The level of attention is so much uh greater for you know, people listening to this band because like we said, like they're active. That means that like probably somebody suggested us to them or whatever, and then they went and checked us out. Or yeah, they saw us at Legions of Metal or Mad with Power or you know, Stormbringer in the future, whatever, and then they were like, oh, that's a cool band, and then like actually have followed through and you know, continue to listen to us outside of like seeing us at a festival or just, you know, being mentioned in casual conversation or whatever. So that's why I really think, well, I feel like we all agree that just like the name Owlbear has probably pushed a lot of sales for us because you hear that band name and people have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then like are interested in seeing what is going on. Cause you'll see that like in the YouTube comments or whatever. They'll be like, I was scrolling and I saw the name Owlbear and I was like, I have to hear this. So I feel like the branding that we have with, I mean, you know, the imagery, the name, the artwork, just like the quality of the artwork, I feel like that has helped us an incredible amount because at 2 years ago we weren't a band, like we'd never released any music, you know. But people were still seeing just the thumbnail and the name of the album and the name of the band, and they were like, I need to check this out. Like there was no previous rapport with us. They weren't like, oh, I liked their other album, let's see if this one's good. Like, so yeah, I mean, for us, I really got to credit Jeff for the idea of the name Owlbear, and then every artist that he found to work with us.
So yeah,
Yeah, Yanis Rubis
yeah.
on a
Leona actually found Giannis.
Yeah.
Like he was really into the idea, and then like immediately after he finished the first cover, which we fucking loved, he's like, "Come back! Like if you guys are gonna do another one, yeah, I'm down to do this."
Well, and what I think's cool about it is there is kind of a going with the D&D theme here. There is kind of that cool, like from the first album. Looks, whoa, hang on. I told you, everybody. This is Diana. She's jumping in the conversation really fast. I'm the Metal Forge. So hello, goodbye. That's gonna stay in the edit. So no, so what was totally cool is it has this like second edition D&D look to it on like the artwork style. And when you look at the new artwork, it has like this new like 5th edition look in like the book.
Don't say those words around me.
Oh,
I was about to say, I know that that's a point of contention with Mr. Taft here.
Oh no!
Yeah. There's a really good and easy explanation for all of that, and that's we had more money.
Ah, nice.
Like,
Well,
that's
but I mean,
really
it's kind of a cool thing. You know, with having like like a D&D creature name, you know, So what's the don't mention those around you? What's
Oh
up? Are
no.
you
Oh well. First of all,
are
I'll
you
just say I always liked owlbears. Just I thought the creature was just kind of the right blend of ridiculous. I think from when I first
sure?
started playing. But to answer your question, I'm not the biggest like fifth edition D&D person. Like
Me
I will,
either.
I will play it. I will not run it. Uh, I think it's great that it's incredibly great that it's got so many people into the game, into the hobby, and like
Mm-hmm.
that I will never take that away, and I'm not gonna be like, but I've been playing role playing games for probably 35 years now, and I have like different sets of preferences for how I want to play like high fantasy games, and there's a lot, and like I'm kind of a rules nerd at times, just by virtue of absorbing so many games, and they don't jive with me quite the way they do.
It's
Someone
almost
came
gotten
into
us
You're not
into
a min
fights at the
maxer,
merch
are you?
table.
No. We had a merch table encounter about this at Mad with Power. Someone
Yeah,
and said, "Which one of you is the one that doesn't like fifth edition?" and fought at me about it with me on Twitter. And Katie immediately goes, "Jeff," and just back to whatever.
like that is not me. I like just did like the Homer Simpson back into the bushes. Yeah, he was like, which one of you two has a Twitter account? We were like, we both have a Twitter account. He's like, who was like arguing with about? And I was like, it was Jeff. I don't even need to hear what the subject matter was. Like,
No, I've actually never played fifth edition. I played fourth and was immediately turned off.
See, I like fourth a lot because I like the tactical side of it. Is real. I think the combat in fourth edition is really good, and I understand what there are other things about it that people don't like, and especially if you're like a really old school player and it's too like war gamey or like too rules heavy, and it's too different from what people who like grew up playing want any of the previous editions though.
Yeah. I started in second. So second is just like
Mm.
it's all the whole math thing. But I think they really hit their stride in 3.5, honestly.
that was the one that I started with.
And 3 was good, but there was so much brokenness in 3. That when they did 3.5, that's where they tried to cure a lot of the brokenness.
And it introduced other stuff. And 3.5 I still like dearly love. It's a lot of work nowadays to like prepare it and run it as a GM.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy who's like the forever DM of my friends. Like my regular weekly group is people I've known and played with for 20 years now. Like I went to college with them. Two of them are married to each other and they met because we all hung out together, like through me, sort of, or through another mutual friend who was also a friend of me. So
So talk to me about the writing concept here. Do because we're on the D&D subject, does Owlbear do that? Is it essentially like a campaign based scenario in the songwriting, or is it more?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's actually it started out like it wasn't ever I think fully intended to be a D&D thing. Like Fiend of it was sort of that was the umbrella under which we stuffed all our other kind of nerdy interests because it really started with Katie writing Fiend of Fire, and Fiend of Fire is about Final Fantasy 1, the video
Okay.
game, which I'm also a big Final Fantasy person. And it just kind of got rolled in together, and so there's a lot of like D&D like lamp shading and like little lore bits, and I try to dig up stuff that doesn't get talked about as much. There's like there's 2 songs that are explicitly like D&D campaign settings on or stuff from campaign settings, old ones on this album, but no, we never tried to make like an overarching story of it, or really we're like, this is only about D&D and D&D related things. No, like D&D adjacent stuff and like pretty much any kind of.
I guess what I was referring to was that is there kind of like more of a concept in the album writing. Like, for example, I've been on this kick here recently where I've been going back and reading Dragonlance novels. And where what I think is so cool about it is these are actually based on campaigns that were actually done in like the Gary Gygax original group.
It's it's Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman.
Hickman.
So a little after the Gygax group. But though Gary Gygax wrote a couple books that feature the characters from that campaign. So
yes, because they were played in his original Greyhawk campaigns.
Yeah,
which that's I always think that's totally a cool thing. Like it's a cool crossover aspect. Like it would the characters of Owlbear or the band members, and they're actually writing about the campaign would be fucking rad.
Yeah, we like had that idea like right out the gate, and then we were like, I'm
That's
so
too much
tired. Yeah, like that, like, I mean, we were talking about it today. Like, Leona was like, oh yeah, I can't believe we all like picked out stage names and then just like immediately abandoned that idea. And I was like, yeah, that was so much work. Like, yeah, yeah, because like I know there's another band in Pittsburgh that does that. They're called Deathlehem, and they're like a
There was a band in Louisville
it's a melodic
30
death
years
metal
ago called
band,
that.
So, oh really?
Yeah, I've always loved that name.
It's so good. It's
it's such a great name.
But yeah, like that's what Deathlehem does. Is they're like, okay, we wrote a story, now we will write songs that are about sections of this story. But for us, it's more like Jeff said, that it's really just like the high fantasy, the swords and sorcery type aspect is more just like an umbrella, and it's like any ideas that we would have that like could fall into that umbrella, like then we'll use them for Owlbear. Or if there's just something else that we want to talk about, we sort of just rephrase it into like that's the sort of language that we use about it, is like high fantasy sort of sounding lyrics, but we're talking about a current event or something like that. So
want to know what song is on the album that talks about killing the fat orange demo goblin? No.
That's probably several of, I mean, not like literally him, but I'm sure. I mean, the single that we put out a week before the album drops is essentially just like, yeah, the gig economy is not like something that can actually sustain itself, and it's more of a slow bleed, and yeah, it's only going to end really badly. And like that's what it is. Like that's essentially the premise of the song, but we're singing about mercenaries that ride gigantic hawks and like, whatever. And that's their
kingdom has fallen apart, and they have to like sell their services as mercenaries to help feed their people. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sure. It's like it's a song about late stage capitalism, honestly. Like, but so that's the thing. But like, we weren't just like, oh, time to call the song is called Late Stage Capitalism, or like fuck Uber or whatever. Like so that's what I mean. Is it's just like, we have whatever our ideas or opinions are on whatever. It's like, okay, well, if we're gonna talk about that, like it sort of needs to be sculpted under this high fantasy image. Yeah. So, we're talking about mercenaries and, fallen kingdoms and night oaths and things like that, rather than talking about
actually
Karl Marx
referring by name to something.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's what ultimately, even going back into, like I said, like into the book, the books and stuff like that. And another band that recently had written a story around their album was a band in North Carolina called Temptation's Wings. They had written a fantasy story about Skullthor Ebonblade was his name. And yeah, their album of such goes along with it, and they actually published a book to go with it, which is totally cool. But yeah, it's like putting things in a real world perspective, based in high fantasy or based in whatever you're wanting to sing it in. If it's occult metal or whatever, that it's basically we're all still trying to do the same thing: is open your fucking eyes and look and see what's in front of you.
Yeah, fundamentally, like so many fantasy stories at their core are obviously just about dethroning tyranny and fighting imperialist forces or overpowering evil.
I mean, and you
right.
said
Yeah,
it
was a very easy medium to apply this to when that's our viewpoints.
and as soon as Jeff said that, the first thing that I immediately thought of was Robin Hood. Like it does the same thing, overthrowing the tyranny of evil, the fucking the grand scheme of things.
I mean,
the anti-billionaire mindset of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I mean, every Final Fantasy game nearly has some form of evil imperialist empire. Sure. Or evil capitalist corporations when you get into the more techno fantasy ones. Yeah.
For sure.
Hello, Wisconsin! It is great to be out here at Mad with Power. As I said, we are Owlbear from the internet. We're from all over the place, but it's fantastic to be out here in the Midwest with everyone. Someone tried to trade us hot dish for vinyl. This has been a wild time so far. As I said, yeah, we are Owlbear. We are a female-fronted metal band, not because that's a genre, but so that you don't fuck it up when you talk to me at the merch table. That one's for you guys. So, since we're out in the Midwest, we're gonna play a song that we wrote about the Midwest. And this one is a little bit riot-inspired, not like the Thundersteel Band, but like Minnesota in 2020. So this one is called Bastard Sons.
Now, let's go ahead and switch over to Derailed here. Derailed are some random questions about you all as people, not necessarily music related or whatever, but obviously we can always find a thread there.
Leona's gonna shine. This is
Yeah.
her. This is her moment.
This
I don't
is,
know what y'all are talking
and
about.
Talking about personal life. Let's go.
Oh, I'm the
yeah.
least interesting person. I don't
She's
know.
always
Do you
she's
think-
always doing this.
Do you think humans will ever be able to travel to another solar system?
I mean,
Not the ones that are alive right now.
yeah, like as an eventuality, probably, but
I'm hoping
You
some
know.
of them that are out here do.
yeah, that's different. It'd be nice to see certain, people get, their wish to have a Mars colony or whatever.
Yeah. Not
But,
a big Raptor Command fan, are we?
No, I'm
Fire
not gonna order
people
coffee
into
like
this-
that.
The sun by means of orbital cannon. Yeah, like that.
So nobody in this lifetime.
No, I would.
not in this, in our lifetimes, or even I think the lifetimes of anyone from a generation or generation after us.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it would be like like say a Trek situation where it's like a few hundred years away, if that, but you never know. So
Right on. Yeah, first. Well, I mean, come on now. We're only like 40 years away from first contact.
well, yeah, but we already missed the Irish reunification of 2024 that they talked
Yeah.
about Next Generation.
And the
So-
Bell riots haven't happened either, and like set us on a path to utopia. So
Right,
that's
so
true.
we still got like a couple of things that need to happen before we can kick
Yeah,
that.
we-
into
before
motion,
we've missed a
that
couple
from
of vital
Cochrane.
steps here.
We're heading for World War III, though.
Well, that was also part of that timeline, though. So
Yeah, no, yeah, it was. It was, but it said it took place about 20 years after World War III. So
yeah,
Yeah, we might be speed running some aspects, but
yeah,
hell yeah. Do you have a pre-show habit or a ritual?
I usually just stand in the back and practice. So
But is it a habit or
yeah,
a ritual?
I'm like doing
It's a
vocal
habit.
warm-ups.
yeah. I usually just hide in the back and practice, or watch whoever is before us. Or I do that like neurodivergent thing where you have an event and you just have to wait and you can't really do anything until that thing happens.
I start to get the jitters. I'll start doing the all right. Who has a tic tac? That kind of shit.
Yeah, just fidgeting.
Yeah, I get to fidgeting up until it's time to fucking wet the hair. And yeah. And then I'll know if it's a good show or not, if I remember to wet the hair or not. Because it always, no doubt about it, fucking, if I don't, the first breath I take on stage, I suck in fucking hair and I'm done.
there's along those notes, there's a similar thing. I forget exactly which album he said this on, but on one of Henry Rollins' spoken word deals, he basically said, in the first 30 seconds if it's going to be a good show or not. And I figure if I can get past that first 30 seconds, then I'm home free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean when we played at Mad with Power this last year, well, my pre-show ritual for Mad with Power was I knew where I was supposed to be, and I was like, cool, I got it. It's 6 hours from now. I just got to show up in 6 hours. I got to be there. That's all I have to do today. That's it. It's so easy. And then I was like almost ready to go. We're like in the like loading dock area, and I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. So like I went to go upstairs, and then people stopped me to talk to me, and I would like told them like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I have to go. I'm like just trying to go to the bathroom. Like I gotta like, and they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, just one more thing. And so when I finally got back to the stage, Jeff and our other guitar player Patrick were like, "Where were you?" I was like, "I was trying to pee. Like, what are we?" And then they were like, "All right, this is Owlbear," and like we walked out onto the stage, and I was like, "Cool, I made it with like 6 seconds to go." Like, yeah, so that was bad.
Those are the worst. And you know, I kind of like feel when that happens to me, when like people are trying to, hey, wait a second, wait, and I'm just like, I gotta fucking go. Leave me
Yeah.
the fuck alone for a second. It's like I have to be like, I'm not mad at you, but I have to run.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to like, as firmly as I can be like, "Oh, yeah. Tell me in a minute." Like I really but also sort of what Leona was saying with the Henry Rollins quote of like, the first 30 seconds or whatever, you'll know if it's going to be good or bad. It was that so like Legions of Metal, like we're sitting there and I'm like super nervous and because it was the biggest show we had played at that point, in general, not as the band, because that was the first show we played as the band at all. But so it was very nerve wracking. I was like, I hope my voice holds out. I hope everyone actually, fucking practiced what they were supposed to practice. Like, practice yesterday went fine. I hope it goes just as well. But when we played at Mad with Power, we had the sound check in the morning, and we tore through a song, and I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Like it was none of the uh nervousness of the last show. It was, once we got up there and it went smooth for the sound check song, and I was like, I am now excited to go out and do this thing. Whereas last time I was like, please don't make me go on stage. Like this is not gonna go well.
Yeah, that I'm stealing this because Katie said it, I think, to me. And I forget, someone asked us how we were feeling, and it's like 15 minutes after this is over, it'll be great. And that was how it felt like doing her show. But then I had the same reaction to Mad with Power.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that like everything's like falling into place. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we just have to wait 5 more hours.
Yeah, sound check was at like 11 or whatever. We played at like 6 p.m. So
Yeah.
Dude, those are the worst. Like that's the thing that I hate the most about being an independent musician, about playing going and having to load into the venue at like 3 or 5 o'clock. And that's like by the time everybody gets loaded in and the whatever backline's getting put up or whatever, it's like 6:30 and the doors are 7. So it's like, fuck, you don't want to be that guy or that person and fucking just be like, so you got to stick around. It just gets tiring sometimes.
Music's a lot of waiting around. That's
is.
how it, for something to happen.
Especially when you get like noon calls, like, you're supposed to be at the venue at noon if you're on tour and shit.
Yeah, when in January this year, I played at MagFest in Washington D.C. and I played with this band called Premium Vintage, and it was on the main stage there, and our sound check it was the same day that we played. Our sound check was at 8:45 a.m. And we played at like 8:45 p.m. So yeah, because that stage starts at I want to say like 2 p.m. or something that day. So they're like, okay, we're gonna sound check all like 10 bands that are playing before the first one plays. So yeah, I mean it was rough. One of the people in our band had like been playing with another band the night before on the main stage at like 1 a.m, and then it was like, their set's over at like 2:30 or something, and they get to wake up at 8:30 and like roll out of bed to sound check at 9 the next morning. It was rough.
That is a rough one. If you could be the main character in any film or any kind of media series, what would it be? Or who would you be?
I don't want to be the main character in anything.
The most Leona answer.
Come on.
Leona doesn't even want to be a tertiary character.
Yeah.
Like, no. I want to be an NPC. Venue. I want to be a background character. I want to be in the corner.
That's crazy. What instrument do you play?
Bass players unite.
Yeah. I feel like I do have a good answer for this, and I don't. It's not coming to me right now. I don't.
Who's gonna pick
I don't know.
Picard?
Jeff? What character do you think I would be?
This is hard it's hard enough for me to figure out who I would be. My initial
fair.
roster of favorite characters all have tragic ends. There's like the overlapping themes of like, can't pick Elric, he dies, and his life.
Well, now I don't have to read the books. Thanks.
Oh,
Comes back. He comes back. Don't worry.
Well, now I really don't have to read the books.
He's the eternal champion.
That's it. It's in the title. I can't say Spike Spiegel either, because we know how that ends. At least this band.
Yeah.
That's up to interpretation. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, fuck. I don't know.
That's a rough one. Because any given day it could be different. Like I said, like who's gonna pick fucking Captain Picard or Kirk? You know, I would be Picard if I had the chance. I mean, that'd be cool.
I mean, if we're just talking about being without being in the situation, that's a different thing. Like, yes, I would like to be Sarah Connor, but at the same time, I do not want to be, running from machines. Right? Yeah. So there's,
Really,
we're not far off from running from machines now. I don't think, but
we don't have Skynet, so we're okay for now.
We're close. All right, okay. I'll Shadow the Hedgehog.
There we go. I should have known. I should have said that immediately.
What is it about that series?
It's the red highlights. It's the red eyeshadow and the eyeliner and the dyed hair. I'll go with Shadow the Hedgehog for this answer.
Right on.
Shit. Now where am I on this?
So while Jeff, you're thinking about this, and Leona only wants to be a tertiary character in the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
What fandom or what property, I guess, like would you want to be a tertiary character in?
Oh man, there's so many. I don't know. I mean, like I would say, like Next Generation era Trek would be the easiest one because it's like so utopian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe specifically like if I would gun to my head or something, Deep Space Nine.
Right on. Hell yeah, I could dig that. Being on the space station.
Yeah. Maybe not during the Dominion War arc so much,
no.
But
I was about to say, maybe at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, or just Next Generation in general, where it's all like, new locale every week or whatever, and all you have to worry about is like some, transporter accident or whatever,
Right.
Worry about getting split into like two different people.
Cardassian invasion.
Yeah, worry about having to have yourself split into a different person who stays on planet and becomes an entirely different entity that you have to reconcile with in, a couple of years or something like that,
Yeah. And then you argue over a beard.
Right.
I know the Rikers. Did you ever come up with one, Jeff?
All right. I don't know if it's going to be the best, but I'm taking a deep cut at Balthier from Final Fantasy 12 because I want to be a sky pirate. I just want to have a flying ship. That's kind of that's like how Hawk Rider started. I just want to write a song about cool flying mounts, and it became what it was. So yeah,
nice.
Sky pirates.
That's way cooler than what my suggestion was going to be for you, Jeff, which was just every Ninja Turtle at once.
Isn't that Metalhead though?
I could. Oh, the robot. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. That would be Metalhead.
I guess technically.
Like I haven't accessed that port. I'm amazed that I knew what you were talking about because I probably haven't accessed that portion of like Ninja Turtles lore for 35 odd years.
Dude,
I totally
come up at your day job.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so like the nerdism really does hit hardcore here, and I don't know if you ever noticed, but like you can see two of them here, barely, but up here you can see He-Man and Skeletor, and I'm just like all nerded out. I have Masters of the Universe figures on the desk, and but yeah, I totally feel you on that. You know
Well, yeah,
the
we all have our specific nerdisms like that. I got like I can
feeling
grab.
the memory unlocked. It's like, wait a minute, isn't his name Metalhead? I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense.
It's right on brand. The branding is flawless in this band. Yeah, I mean, we all have our deep dive moments. I mean, I have an Evangelion calendar that Leona bought me. So
Oh, it got there.
yeah, I did. I forgot to tell you.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
I'm so slow to the punch at things. Like,
No,
yeah,
I
I'm
was
just
just
like,
concerned
oh,
that
nice.
I was just concerned that it
But
would
it
have got there before you had to, change the first page or something,
right, yeah. No, still, I gotta decide on 100% the location for it because my first obvious move would be right next to like my Nerve logo LED, but I'm like, there's not
Right.
really a spot for it, so I'm just like, okay, I gotta figure out where I'm actually putting this thing.
So the next question that got brought up, and I read a digital deck of cards when I do these,
Mhm.
and I can't help but to actually ask it, given today's fucking climate, is will a professional gamer ever be a profession? Uh, and I think we know there definitely is a fucking a professional gamer out there who fucking definitely has the profession of president right now. Uh,
Well,
I mean, I can pay a Chinese gold farmer to level my Diablo character too. That goes back to 1990, what's eight? Like,
yeah,
so not a new one from the playbook there.
no, definitely not. But no. So let's go ahead and skip that question because fuck that guy too. Uh,
Ah, Jeff's not gonna
uh,
get to talk about my video game speedrun
Yeah,
records.
we
Oh.
can't reveal Katie's secret world record speed running.
Yeah,
I
really?
like
I can't be introduced as Katy Scary, vocalist and F-Zero enthusiast.
that's for my
Wow.
like fourth best time.
Um,
Two maps in a tactical RPG no one has ever played because it
um,
doesn't exist in English.
but yeah, no, I mean that was the thing I did for. I mean, honestly, I want to get back into it now that I don't have the album to work on. But I would stream on Twitch and I would do some video game speedruns, and I was doing F-Zero for a while. And yeah, I mean, I was in for uh specific categories of it. Yeah, I was in like the top 5 or whatever, like best period at it. And I did some I did Metroid. That one was way more competitive because there was like, the leaderboard was like 500 people long. I think the F-Zero one was only like 30 people long, but
Sure.
yeah, Metroid, I cracked top 100 fastest at it, and I was like, I think that's about where it's gonna stay. I'm gonna go do something else with my life now.
Yeah. I watch videos on YouTube, and it's just I couldn't do it. I takes a lot of practice to be
There's
able to
some.
speed run.
It's a whole new level of, yeah. It basically, like with the Metroid one, it got to a point where I was like, no, I would have to understand like so much more about this game, like not just where to go and like memorizing that quickly, but I'm like, I would need to understand like so many more game mechanics and like
Mm-hmm.
practice the
And
timing of specific moves and whatever. And I was like, I think it's because the world record for it, I think, is like an hour 10 minutes or like an hour 12 minutes. It's something around there. And my uh time whenever I quit was like an hour 29 minutes. So it's like in real life, that's not a crazy, amount of time difference, like 17 minutes. But like to start shaving off seconds at that point was
mm-hmm.
like hours of work for 5 seconds. And I was like, that's not happening. I have to go to work. I have to actually like I have to do everything else.
Well, and the other thing is like though the people that get those like insanely like where they're shaving off seconds and
Right.
milliseconds and shit. It's like almost like glitch manipulation.
Yeah, some
in
of it. I mean, those are the ones I don't like because it's just, I mean, yeah, it's like, oh, hit this door like 4 times and then you skip ahead 3 hours in the game. And I'm like, well, that's not being super good at the game. That's just like, that's being super good at, like, I mean, some of those glitches are difficult, but, yeah, what do I want to say? I focused on, the ones that were just like, no, it's not like, you're just no clipping through the fucking floor and skipping to the final boss or whatever. It was just like you just have to be like exceedingly excruciatingly good um at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, if you were, what would you leave in a time capsule to be discovered in 50 years?
I mean, I think that's what we're doing.
This-
Yeah, a couple of heavy metal albums.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hell yeah, I
Some
get it.
sick owlbear paintings, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Just no context owlbear paintings.
Yeah,
Just
there's no
without the albums.
Just that background right there. You know,
with
just,
the OBS logo.
yeah.
Dude, like, could you all imagine like sitting there and like fucking war rummaged fucking earth? Fucking, it's like how we've found like cave wall paintings and shit like that. Somebody's gonna find this fucking thing that's been drawn, and it's gonna be this owlbear, and it's gonna be history at this point. It's gonna be like, what happened in this era? They had these giant things that were called owl bears, and they would come out and they'd have to, it'd be like, fuck.
That's the
I can
goal,
only
to be an environmental lore entry in like a post-apocalyptic Horizon Zero Dawn kind of scenario. Just
Yeah,
like you walk by and they're like a broken tape is still playing your album in some forgotten underground facility.
I mean, think about it. It's like, think of 2112. I mean, Discovery. It's where they found the guitar and they tuned it up and learned how to play it. And I mean, it could happen. It could totally happen. But I have one more question. But before we get into it, as always, links, they're listed below. So please give like, share, and a follow. Go do all the things and all the stuff. Go buy merch. Go see them when they're playing shows. These festivals, Stormbringer and Mile High Fest this year. Hell yes. Awesome friends of the show, both of those. Do you all have anything else you would like to promote or any shout outs you would like to give today?
I just had one word I wanted to say.
Oh, go for it.
Skullduggery.
That's a great word.
I'm saying.
It's better than chicanery, even though chicanery is in that vein and comes close.
For sure. I always like palindrome.
That's a good one.
A friend asked me what my favorite palindrome was when we were going to see a black metal band last week, and I had to think way too hard on this, but I decided it was kayak. So
that's the one where it's the same backwards and forwards, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. Well, obviously, it's got to be Taco Cat.
That's
solid.
Drop the ball.
Race car.
In terms of plugging things, Katie, you want to plug your music, and then we can plug the guests on the albums thing?
That's true. Yeah, we should probably talk about who's actually on the thing. Yeah, for us, I mean, like we said, we're on Spotify, we're on Bandcamp. There's physical copies of the music, there's t-shirts, merch. We do some other kinds of merch along the path of the like getting to the album release. We've done custom dice, we've done wooden laser etched dice trays, stickers, so there's always new stuff popping up. We're always figuring out what kind of stuff the D&D folk that would be listening to Owlbear might be interested. We had laser etched coasters at some point, but so definitely follow us on Bandcamp, Spotify. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram now. I was trying to think. It used to be they'd be like, "Where can we find you?" And I was like, "Nowhere. Who cares?"
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook, Spotify, Bandcamp, Instagram. Yeah, those are and then I do other music. If you just search Katy Scary I have like a solo project, like I said. Well, I mean, if you search Katy Scary, everything that I'm on will come up because I just have it kind of set up that way. So yeah, I mean, if you know want some chill ambient music, I do lo-fi hip hop, like I said. I have another metal band called Claymore. Um,
Oh, did we get to plug all
yeah,
the bands we're in?
oh my God, yeah, I forgot. Leona's gonna be here for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I can
yeah,
keep
I
it
think
short,
that's
but you finish first.
yeah. How about the maybe just your active bands?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
Give
yeah,
me
I
a
think
second here.
that's
I
it
want
on
to
my
play
end
the
of
I
stuff.
want
I
to
want to
play the
say.
game here.
are you gonna go?
I'm gonna go to the metal archives and I'm gonna
Yeah,
see what all it lists.
We've made
there's
it a goal to make Leona's Metal Archives entry
next page as long as possible.
as we can get.
Yeah.
All right. Who do we have?
All right, quiz me. I can tell you about them.
Just a car.
Just a Car. That's a project that Jeff is also in.
Yes.
That is a project that we are doing with Jordan from Valeria, and we're doing it with Alicia from Judicator, and we also have Josh from Transgressive, and it's like Star Wars themed, extended universe Star Wars themed power metal.
Hell yeah. We need to totally have you on for that.
Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah, I love me some. So is it like? Okay, I'm gonna already ask the question because I'm such a fucking nerd. Is it pre Disney expanded universe stuff?
Yes. It's like
Yes,
it's
yes.
the first album is pretty Thrawn centric and Timothy Zahn book centric.
Yes, yes. Thank 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 whatever being out there that if there is a creator for Dave Filoni because he is saving the fucking universe with fucking Star Wars, I think. Because he hasn't tied into the Disney trilogy yet. But that's just yeah. Is that a point of contention too? Are we
I mean, I like
yeah.
certain post expanding unit. I think Andor is probably some of the most incredible TV that has ever been done. And I can't believe they got to make a show that overtly political on fucking Disney. But I mean, a lot of it others is hit.
Did you see how they're going to release season 2?
I
think that post just came out like today, didn't it?
all staggered.
Yeah, it's actually like a block of like 3 episodes, and then it's like 2 weeks later 3 episodes, and then it's like 2 weeks later 3 episodes or something.
Oh man, before you know it, they're going to be doing the Attack on Titan thing.
Oh god.
The final season, part 3 or whatever, you know.
Well, this is actually supposed to tie directly into Rogue One.
Yeah, it's gonna end. That's always, I think, been the intention that it's gonna end directly in the Rogue One.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so my final question of the day is.
Answer the we didn't even do on his 3 other bands.
Oh yes, we didn't do that, did we? Who else? Miasma Theory.
Miasma Theory. That's a band with also the guitar player from Northern Crown, who should still be on there as well.
Northern
My
Crown
friend
is up
Zach
next.
Randall. Yeah. And those are basically doom metal projects. So I play fast in some bands, I play slow in other bands. So
hell yeah. I'm seeing Rope on here.
Rope is the band in Seattle that I play with. It's got my friends Ann and Margaret on guitar and then drums, and our friend Matt from Solicitor on guitar as well. And it's kind of a more early 80s kind of like, you know, Christian Mistress type, old school heavy metal type vibe, you know? Yeah, very cool stuff, I think.
Hell yeah. I'm looking at the logo right now. The logo's pretty cool, like stonery doom looking.
Yeah. It's not very stonery or doom. It's actually like the biggest point like of comparison I can probably say would be like, again, Christian Mistress, because it's that like kind of like smoky early 80s kind of vibe or whatever, but it's not stonery, I guess, because like when you think of when I think of stoner, I think of things like like Electric Wizard and stuff, right?
Sure.
And so it's not that. It's definitely more that early '80s kind of like just heavy metal vibe, like
It's
yeah.
fucking rock and roll.
Yeah. There's a lot of rock and roll in it with maybe a little bit more diminished chords than you might find otherwise, but still very much in that vein. So,
And then of course, Wraith Storm.
Wraith Storm is a new incarnation of a band that Alicia from Judicator did, and also has Lux from Soulmass on vocals. And they originally did a Funeral Doom album a couple years back, and they wanted to come back as a melodic death metal band, and so they asked if I played bass for them. So that's we just did our first single that came out probably a week or two ago. So
Nice. Hell yeah. And I'm gonna list one of the X bands on here because they've been on the Metal Forge before, and because I am such a huge Masters of the Universe fan, Skeletor.
Yeah. I did a minute in Skeletor. We did a Star Trek EP while I was in the band. It was about the rise of Kalis.
Yes. That was about the time I had them on, actually.
Yeah. And so that was a fun one. But yeah, those were
Was that
an interesting
Blood Moon? Is that what that's called?
There's a song called Blood Wine on there. It's probably what you're thinking of.
Probably.
Yeah. And interestingly, tying back to the plugs of other people that play on the album,
Blood Empire.
Blood Empire is the the Blood Empire is the EP. Blood Wine is the song, and then there's what is it? I'm blanking on the other
Deeds of Honor, Good Day to Die, and the First Empire.
Yeah, First Empire was it because that was almost going to have the title of the EP, and I couldn't remember if it was a different title or whatnot because I didn't sing the lyrics.
Yeah,
so I don't remember.
I loved it because it was done up like the Konami games back in the day.
Yeah.
Like the Simon's Quest and
that
shit
was
like that.
They
so
even
which
did
is
a
totally
lyric video
cool.
that was very old school as well. And but yeah, that was cool. And that was a fun release to do. But yeah.
The friends of mine that I was talking about earlier in Temptation's Wings, they're actually doing a song about Gowron.
Nice.
So yeah.
Cool
stuff.
And to tie it back, like I was going to say, with the people that played in the album. So my friend Rob Steinway from that band is actually doing a guest guitar solo on the single that just dropped. So it was the Hawk Rider single. He plays the Wheatleys in there. So
yeah, the middle song I hope to
the Wheatley bits,
reproduce live is Rob's.
Yeah,
and he just went ballistic on it.
Yeah, it's some really great some some shreds in there.
I had never heard Rob play a solo before, and then that is what he came back with, and I was like, I didn't know. I was like, it's amazing. I don't know. It's got a bunch of stuff in it that I don't know, that I just like hearing in metal music. It's got the harpsichord sort of melodies in it, and then he harmonized all of them, and I at least on my end, I couldn't have really asked for anything more out of him. So I was really pleased with how that all turned out.
Who else did any guest spots on the album?
Yeah, there was Longest Solo Ever is the guy's is it YouTube channel that he does?
Longest Solo Ever. He is a YouTuber. He does it's called Nerdcore, which is honestly kind of just what we do. It's just people writing songs about nerd adjacent media that they like, and he blew the fuck up in the last couple years. And I've just known him for a few years, and we've done a couple collaborative things together in that time, and he has always had nice things to say about Owlbear, and was always real supportive of the idea, because the scenes that we're from, it's people doing a bunch of cover music and cover songs and things, and so he was always really excited when he saw people that he knew doing original music. And so I was like, hey man, you're always supportive of that kind of thing, you should come be on this one. And then he also knocked it out of the fucking park. So I'm real pleased on that one as well.
And it was it Ian was the guy that did the solo? Ian Cowell, I think was.
Was also from the VGM scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Weirdly, Katie and I met completely separately, but has been friends with Katie for a while. And then I just I think I ran into him in some Facebook group and became friends with him. And he didn't know that I knew Katie until like a year later.
Yeah, he is very into all things dad rock. And I mean he's into other stuff too, but I just mean like that was why we grabbed him. We had a song that was super dad rock, 70s rock, AC/DC sort of thing, and we were like, we should just grab the guy that is already out there playing dad rock music. And then he's in an original band called Psychic Hit, and I think they have an album coming out this year. I don't think they've like released any singles or anything like with Ian on it. They had a couple albums before that, but yeah, we just wrote a dad rock song. We were like, let's go grab our dad rock friend. And because I mean, I don't know, that's kind of how this band started. We were like, let's just make some fun music with our friends. And that has thankfully been able to continue. And yeah, I mean,
that one also
and
goes
be able to
back.
lift some other people up as well while we're doing it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That one also goes back to dunking on 47-year-old guys who play 3 shows a year at the same bar for 20 years.
Yeah, the
Yes.
song that he's playing on is what I wrote about the local music scene. So
Because we all have those people.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Unfortunately, yes, exactly.
It's also funny that it's the dad rock song, but it also has like the lowest notes on the whole record, right?
Yeah, it's
Like-
technically tuned to drop C.
Yeah, it's tuned to drop C, and then I played it on a 6-string bass tuned down a whole tone, so the lowest note during the breakdown is an A. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that one. I don't know how all those parts came together. I don't think we could have planned that intentionally. Yeah.
hell yeah. Anybody else to shout out?
We got everyone. Oh, we should shout out Pat's bands.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So whenever we play live, we have a live guitar player that he's alive. And a drummer that come with us on these. So our guitar player's name is Patrick Gunderson, and he has 2 different bands that he's in. The one is like a modern new metal band called H1Z1. And then he has a group that does metal covers of video game songs called Gunderslam, and that's actually where I met him from, also doing metal covers of video game songs. And that's where I met Ian, that's on the album. So, but yeah, so that's Patrick with Gunderslam and H1Z1. So if anyone has seen us play live, that was Patrick playing guitar with us, and then our live drummer Rocky is also in Gunderslam, and I don't think he has a project that he's like the main that's like his brainchild. He's just, there's only so many drummers in the world, so Rocky is involved with a lot of stuff with a lot of people. He plays with one of Ian's bands even whenever they play conventions and stuff. So Rocky is all over the place. He plays a lot of different genres. He's a really talented and hardworking dude. So I'm always glad whenever he's able to make the show with us.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Shout outs, because that's what matters, giving the shout outs to everybody. My final question of the day is, what legacy do you want to leave behind with Owlbear?
Don't listen to social media gurus. Don't what do I want to say? Don't round off the edges of yourself. I mean, this started with us saying fuck the president and our posts that said fuck the president. And, every other musician you've ever run into is like, oh, don't say anything political. You could lose $5 in Bandcamp sales over the next 3 years because that's all that they make. But yeah, I mean, I think that like more importantly than the riffs or the music that we're doing is really how we're doing it, and really just the messages that we get to put out there from achieving a larger audience.
Yeah, I just want to say I made some cool stuff with my friends. Like that was the original intention of this band, and that's
Right, yeah.
what's going.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I can't imagine this band with not these 3 people in it. Like I can't imagine cycling any one of us out. It would be a completely different it would have to just be a completely different band.
Yeah. Leona, did you want to weigh in on anything?
I mean, I'm basically like, I would just want to like second what Jeff said is it's just like, just doing cool stuff with my friends has been the main driving point in what I do. Is I like to make things. I like to make things with cool people, and I'm happy that I get to work with both Jeff and Katy in this band, and we the other people are enjoying it as much as we are, and that's that's the big thing for me. So.
Awesome. Thank you all so much, Leona, Katy, Jeff.
Thanks.
I appreciate you all. Hopefully, this year I will either get to make it either to Mile High or Stormbringer. I'm trying my damnedest to get to one of them. Appreciate you all for doing this. On our way out today from Owlbear, what do you all want to play?
Oh, what would y'all want to do?
Play.
But we're just picking the outro music?
Yeah.
What song?
Oh, Jeff, you know what our outro music is.
Oh yeah, we have to do the outro music. Do we just drop it in the chat? Let it be a surprise.
Yep.
Yeah, go
I'll
for
just
it.
go ahead.
Gotta keep that. I keep that on me.
I mean, I'm just going to announce it on the show, and we're just going to play it. So.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, of course, right. Yes.
We've committed to this bit now.
Awesome.
This
All
is
right.
At
yeah.
Mile High, they asked us for a writer. They were like, "What do you guys need?" And we're like, "We want this as our outro music." They're like, "All right."
Yeah, there was like we have 2 requests. We have a specific intro song and a specific outro song that we'll play before and after we get on the stage. And this is the latter of the 2.
Yeah, this is our outro theme.
Oh my gosh.
I think that he meant something from the album, but
yeah, I meant from the band, but I am going to totally leave this link. This link is going to be listed in the description below, so make sure you go see what it is that we're talking about.
All right. So if we're talking about songs on the album that are from our outro, what's one of the ones that we haven't dropped? Yeah, would it be like Altar?
We do, yeah.
Let's see that.
But yeah, let's do Altar of Earth. It started with a Final Fantasy song, so we should follow.
Yeah, we might as well wrap it up with a Final Fantasy song.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
Let me
You're running down on devil
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing. Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza Donisi. Pizza Donisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the ultimate underground metal tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza Donisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza Donisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. For 45 years and keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. The year was 19... In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shade Beast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shade Beast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shade Beast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soul Grinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. to distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby.